and welcome to Ammar Woman Magazine. I'm your host, Wendy Brawley, and I'm joined by my talented team of co-hosts. To my far right, Donna Ayers.
Hello.
And next to her, Dr. Marcia Brevard-Wynn.
Hi.
And next to me, Jessica Martinez.
Hi.
Well, we've got a wonderful show on tap for you today. Now, if you are giving care to a loved one or an elderly parent, grab a pen and paper because you'll want to see the segment that we've got coming in today's show. And we're going to introduce you to a phenom who's only 17, who's making waves in the international circuit and in the state circuit on basketball. So, ladies, are you ready to get started?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Ooh, hot topics. This past few weeks, I think President Obama introduced a new initiative that he called My Brother's Keeper. And of course, the nature of this program, once it gets in place, is to provide a safety net, if you will, for minority young males, particularly African American and Hispanic males, who, by all the statistics and all the data, are at risk. What do you think about the program? You think we need it? Do you think it'll work? Do you think it's just more of the same? What do you think?
Well, I personally love it, maybe because I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know. Just basically, like the statistics like you were talking about, obviously we need to do something, and I was just so amazed. I was just so happy that President Obama is taking steps to address that issue.
A lot of people were, and he received some criticism his first term for not taking on this issue of the crisis in the black male community in particular, minority males in general. So a lot of people were really waiting for this particular initiative and putting a lot on it to be successful. But will it be successful?
It's huge because you have a lot of African American adolescents who've taken themselves out. They're eradicating that population. And I think a lot of it is because they don't have a lot of constructive things to do with their time. So they find trouble to get into. So when you do like mentoring activities and things that Obama's trying to put forth, I think that's going to make a big difference. But that needs to be across the nation, not just in certain areas. It's happening everywhere. Even like you hear a place like Chicago, you might hear about things happening every day there. But it's because those kids have nothing constructive to do. So what else to do? Idle times, idle minds, that's a deadly combination.
And a lot of times that's why the streets become so attractive to young men, because they're looking for identity, they're looking for someone to look up to, and, here comes Mr. Drug Dealer, and, I think this is a great thing.
And a lack of those mentoring type initiatives also leads to more gang activity, because like she said, you're trying to find family, you're trying to find somebody to identify with, but that's in the wrong way that you're lacking.
Donna, you're mighty quiet down there on that
I'm
end.
just waiting on my turn. I hope it is a successful initiative. I actually watched some of the press conference when he was rolling it out a few weeks ago, and he really seemed to reach the young men because he was speaking from a point of experience and saying, look, I've been there. I wasn't always perfect. I didn't study like I should have. I did not always respect people like I should have. I might have smoked a little weed.
Yeah, that's what he did say. It was real.
Well, make him seem real.
Yeah.
It's not just a president who's a man. He's
Yeah.
a black man who had the same struggles at one
That
point
he
that
did.
they had, so they can identify with him.
And
So I
you
think
could
they
tell he was
embraced that.
connecting. You could tell that he was connecting with those young men that were there in the room with him.
Well, I think the good thing about this is he's using his presidential pulpit, really, to make sure that this happens, and that from what I've read and what I understand, it's being funded primarily with philanthropic dollars and corporate dollars of folks who are contributing and donating to make these programs available to kids all across the country. And I think, that's a really good place to start, getting the community engaged and letting them see that it starts with school, it starts with home, and, as you say, in providing some kind of structure. So will it work? You think it will?
I think it will, because I was watching the press conference, and a lot of the young boys, well, they're not little, but they were young. They were like in their teens or early 20s. They have some major challenges. I mean, he said one of them said that his brother got beat up just for, you have to watch out what time you go outside. I mean, that's just
scary.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. Like, I have a 17-year-old son, and I don't want to ever live in an area where I have to say, oh, you can't go outside right now because,
Might get shot,
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's sad. Well, I hope it works.
Actually, I
Donna,
think we all do.
I want to change the topic just a smidget. Donna's girl, Paula Deen, has been at it again.
Again.
Oh, Paula. What is going on with Paula Deen, Donna?
Well, she was down in Miami at the Food and Wine Festival, which she has been for years, and she was trying to make a point about, I don't want to become known for this mishap. We ain't gonna relive that. We did it. If you go to YouTube, you can see that. We talked about it. And so she said, I don't want to be like that black football player.
The black gay football player.
She did not say gay. She did not say gay.
The black football player who
that
recently came out. That's what she said.
Well, her point is that everybody has been referring to him as the gay football player. Anybody here watch the NFL Combine?
No.
I did. Anyway, so he gave an interview to the NFL Network, and he basically said that. He said, look, I want to be known for my performance on the field and not for anything that I do off the field. And, I came out and I said it, and so let's just
But you
move
know what?
on.
You know what, though? The thing I think that kind of perturbed people was not that she was talking about the fact that he was coming out, but that she identified him first as black. She saw black first rather than the issue that he was really addressing, which was his sexuality.
But still knowing other racial issues that were connected with her
Yeah.
previous issues.
It was
so
kinda
she
like,
back away
wow.
from saying that.
Yeah, she needs a good publicist.
Right?
Paula, call me.
I do think it was a little
1, 2,
overblown
3.
again. I do think it was a little overblown again, and I think she was trying very hard not to identify him as the gay football player. That was the point she was making, is, he doesn't want to be known as the gay football player. And, I guess,
So she
I don't want to
called
be
him
known
the
as
black
the
guy.
racist
The word
one.
black out of her mouth, that will save her life.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just needs
I
to,
think so. I think
practice
so.
silence.
Yeah.
Silence is
Is
golden.
that offensive?
Okay.
Is that offensive?
Unless it was necessary to
Somebody
say.
Guys, let's hold that thought. We'll be right back.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about Paula Deen in the news again recently.
Touchy.
And I was posing the question, is it bad that she referred to him as the black football player when she was clearly trying to avoid saying the gay football player? So we were having that discussion.
Yeah, I think it just shows that in her mind she saw black first instead of the issue. His issue wasn't that he was black. His issue was that he was coming out about his sexual preference.
Therefore, it was not relevant for her
Her
to mention his
mention
color
black.
at all. That was not
Exactly.
necessary.
Yeah, it was like rude.
Yeah, it was
She needs to
something
be
that she should school.
She should be cognizant of the issues she had previously and be mindful of and culturally sensitive with what comes out of her mouth.
In other words, zippy.
Okay, well, we're moving on to the Affordable Care Act. The deadline to sign up is March 31st, so right around the corner. Millions of Americans have already signed up, but millions of Americans also have not signed up. So what do you think? Is this going to work or not?
Well, they've not fallen too far short of the anticipated goal at this time. I think they're over halfway there, so that's a good sign.
I think it's going to work because for the first time, millions of Americans have been insured for the first time. So I think time will tell. I hope it works.
Yeah, it
I've heard
needs
some
to
good
work.
things
Yeah.
about it too. Those who have gotten insurance,
I think it just got off to such a bad start with the website that it gave critics an opportunity to and naysayers to say it's never going to work.
Or I told you so.
Right, but how can we as a country say that people aren't really entitled to be healthy? You know, that's basically what this is about, giving folk an opportunity to have access to become healthy and to remain healthy. So I think it will work. I think it needs to be tweaked. I think there are parts of it that probably need to be revisited. But it's scary that we're in an environment where you can't really do that, because the people who want to kill it will take that opportunity to kill it rather than to try to tweak it. It's kind of like they said Social Security was at first. You know, people were fighting it and saying, you know, Medicare, and so, oh, we can't have. And now you try to take away Social Security and Medicare and see what happens. Once you get health insurance and you get used to being healthy and being able to see a doctor when you're sick and even before for preventive, you don't want to go back. Who wants to go back to not being able to access health care?
And I work in a hospital at Providence, and the number of people that come into our emergency room uninsured, it was like 49,000 people over the past 3 years came into the emergency room. But that's because they know the hospital has a duty to see them, at least get them stabilized. So the fact that they can actually get insurance before hitting our emergency room and actually get a medical home as opposed to using the emergency room is a big deal.
Yeah, because the emergency care is the most expensive way to provide health care in the emergency room.
It is the most expensive.
Yeah.
I think in addition to the website problems, which they knew that there were going to be issues, they knew they weren't ready. They rolled it out, but we've seen some delays in certain parts, and that continues. That list continues to be added onto, and I think that gives people some concern as well. And what is the fine? Does anybody know? You know off the top of your head?
$95. It's
Okay,
$95 if you don't sign up for insurance. I think.
Just a flat 95.
Just $95.
Which is a lot cheaper
Right.
than any health care you
That's
can
what
buy.
it is for the first time. I think it increases as a year. The amount of the fine increases with the severity of your not signing up. So if you miss it this time, I think at the end of this year you pay the $95 if you hadn't signed up. But if you continue to miss, it goes up. It goes up higher. Because basically you're probably going to get care. You're just going to get it in the most expensive manner possible, which is in the emergency room, and we're all going to pay then.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I hope it works. I think it has enormous possibilities in a country as rich as America is. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves to not want to find a way to make sure people stay healthy. That's just crazy to me to not want to do
Well,
that.
I know some parents, single parent homes, I know they're very excited about it, and sometimes even if you make $5 above the criteria, you can't get Medicaid, and so their kids go uninsured, and then they grow up with some severe medical problems. So hopefully this will work. I'm pretty optimistic it will.
And kudos to the president for pushing it, you know, because it wasn't easy, and hopefully we will have the opportunity to see it work, you know, to actually reap the benefits. Well, this is a great tie-in to our next segment, because we're going to talk to an expert on caregiving. If you are caring for an elderly family member or parent, then you want to get a pen and paper, because we've got some great information coming up for you. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
We all have something neatly tucked away in the back of our mind. A secret hope. That thing we've always wanted to do. It's not about having dreams. It's about reaching them. An ally for real possibilities. AARP. Find tools and direction at aarp.org/possibilities.
Welcome back. We're delighted to have with us today Wallace Cunningham. And Wallace, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Valentine's Day, all that good stuff.
Oh, yes.
Hadn't seen you in a while. So
Yes, it's been a while.
glad to have you back. And for those of you who don't know, Wallace is the Associate State Director of Multicultural Outreach for AARP South Carolina. So Wallace, today we're going to talk a little bit about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and that's caregiving. A lot of people who are my age, 50-plus generation, they're in what they call the sandwich generation, where they're caring for an elderly or an aging parent or family member, and maybe even still working, and also trying to provide for a student or child that may be in college or adult child. And it's just very, very stressful. I know for a fact what we went through with my mom before she passed away. So I understand that AARP has resources available to help folks who find themselves in that so-called sandwich generation. Can you tell us a little bit about those resources?
Yes, I can, Wendy, and you're absolutely right. Here in South Carolina, there are about 800,000 folk that are caregivers of some sort, providing care for a family member or a friend, and it is very stressful and very, very challenging. And what we're doing at AARP is focusing on that group of folk, sharing with them information as it relates to the caregiving process. We have a list of resources, our book here, Prepare to Care, along with other information, advanced directives that deals with powers of attorney, patient safety information, because many times folk are caring for people that have to go into the hospital, and that's an entirely different process. And there are some things that people need to know when they are going through the process of taking someone to the hospital, but also when they're in the home. Many folk now have to administer medical equipment, so it can be very, very challenging.
It's interesting because I think a lot of times caregivers are so busy trying to give the care that they don't even think that things could change quickly, that the health condition could worsen or something else could intervene and cause them to be unprepared, as you say, for a hospital visit or something of that nature. But tell me a little bit about what you're doing to help the folks who may need the caregiving. Are there things that or resources that are available to help a person if they feel as though they are going to be in need of caregiving?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As I stated, we have the Prepare to Care book. We have information on advanced directives as well as patient safety, and even our legislative priorities talks about the things that are available for folk in a caregiving situation like home and community-based services. Now, one of the things that I've been doing and will be doing all of this year is going out to various faith-based organizations, community groups, and others, and providing caregiving presentations.
Okay.
I am encouraging organizations, especially faith-based organizations, to add a caregiving component to the healthcare ministry or just add a caregiving ministry. And we are willing to come out and do workshops and presentations and train folk and help them recruit volunteers within their organization and provide these materials so that they can be there and be on site so that when folk do come with questions and issues, the information is there and is available to address those issues.
That is so appropriate too, particularly that you're partnering with faith-based organizations, because most faith-based groups or churches have a what they call missionary society or a missions organization within their church that has a specific role when it comes to caregiving. So this would be an ideal match for those groups in particular to kind of learn about these services and learn about these resources. You mentioned something earlier. You talked about the medical and the legal aspects of caregiving. Talk a little bit more about that. What do you mean legal and medical?
Legal and medical. Well, you know, when you and I were growing up, we didn't call it caregiving. We just called it family because
That's
folks
right.
just took care of each
They
other.
took care of each
And
other.
whoever was available, I mean, you take
yeah.
your grandmother or your aunt or your uncle, you just took them to the doctor. Well, now it's very, very different. Because when you go to the doctor or to the hospital especially, they want to know, okay, who can speak for this person if they aren't able to
Legally,
speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
And so they're looking for a document, healthcare power of attorney, that specifically states that this individual is here and can speak for you and can answer these questions and can make these decisions. I mean, we have that information. It's about 7 pages, and it has a list of very, very different questions. I mean, questions like, do you want a feeding tube or do you not want a feeding tube? Do you want to be resuscitated? So it is very, very involved, and these are the kinds of things that need to be in place so that a caregiver will know the wishes of the person that they're caring for. And a part of the prepared care process is having that conversation with the person that's being cared for so that these decisions can be made and the documents can be in place in the event that they have to go to the hospital for care.
That's interesting because you're right. Now things have changed so much legally that if you don't have those documents in place, it could mean going before a probate judge or trying to figure out if a family member, one says one thing, the other says another, who has the legal authority to make a decision. That could be horrific in a bad situation.
Well, you're absolutely right, because now folks, as you mentioned earlier, people are working, they have busy lives. Families aren't as geographically close to each other as they have been in years past, and so usually you have one person that this falls upon to provide care, but you may have other family members that want to have input. And so exactly right, this document or documents need to be in place so that these conversations can work out all of these details before something happens.
You know, I know with me and my sisters, when we were helping my mom, who before she passed, who had dementia, and it was a long goodbye, and it was very difficult, we were all working, so it made it even more challenging. So there are many people like that who are working, who want this information, who need it, but they can't go to a workshop or take a day off and go to a seminar. Is there a way to access some of these resources from your home?
Yes, yes. Person can go online, go to aarp.org, go up in the search box and type in caregiving. It will take them to the Caregiving resource website, and we have an extensive list of materials that can guide people through the caregiving process.
Very good. Well, Wallace, as always, it's always a pleasure to have you in. You always bring such good information. Thank you so much, and thank you to AARP for all the good work you're doing in our communities.
And certainly it's always a pleasure to be here with you, Wendy, and we thank you for being our regional volunteer director and doing a wonderful job with the state presidents.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back. We are just delighted to have with us Asia Wilson, the phenom in basketball.
It's good to be here. It really is good to be here.
You're doing some wonderful things. Let me just read a few of your accomplishments. #1 high school girls basketball recruit in the nation. A gold medal winner, the youngest on the international team. Being pursued by college coaches at some of the nation's top schools, including right here with Don Staley, #4 ranked USC.
And we love the Gamecocks.
Go Gamecocks! I'm
No
Gamecocks!
pressure.
You just won a state championship. They tell me you scored 37 points.
Yeah.
So what you been up to?
Well, I just got, as you said, I just finished up playing, so I've really just been relaxing now, just taking it all in.
Yeah.
Blessed to be in this position, honored to be in this position that I'm in. So really just taking it all in, enjoying time with family. That's pretty much it right now, trying to finish high school off.
Yeah, because you're only, what, 7?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, that's wonderful. I Googled you. You got pages. Pages on Google at 17 of good stuff.
Good.
Yeah, good
Good
stuff.
stuff.
That's the good stuff.
That's wonderful.
Thank you
That's
so
wonderful.
much.
So when you're not playing basketball, what are you doing?
Majority of the time I'm probably sleeping. I'm probably sleeping or getting on my parents' nerves, as they would
Speaking
say.
of your parents, I know your parents, Roscoe and Eva Wilson, are two the wonderful, just great people, and they've done a really good job keeping you grounded.
Yes,
How you
they
keep it all in balance?
They help me out a lot. They really do. They kind of let me know that I'm still 17 years old.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a 17-year-old to them no matter what. So really they kind of help me out a lot with whether it's clean up your room they're telling me to clean up my room every 2 seconds, or just Asia, just be quiet. No, you can't go out. So they really hold it down. They really keep me balanced throughout all this whole process.
That's good though, Asia. What you plan on doing in your career for after basketball?
Have
you decided?
Yeah, I would like to major in psychology. I just love the way the mind works, so that's really how I want to, after basketball ends, for me, I would like to go and be a sports psychiatrist for some athletes because I love the way the mind works. We're all different no matter what. We're all different. Our minds are all different. So I really like to kind of dig inside a person and see how they think and what makes them different and how are things different in us.
That's so needed, don't you think, Donna?
I can think of some athletes.
That could use a little
psychiatrist.
Yeah, it really, because not all of them are as grounded as you and have had the kind of background and family support and community support that you've had. You can really tell it on and off the court.
Thank you.
Have you had any athletes here in South Carolina reach out to you?
Yeah, it was a mixture of, I mean, of course, girls from South Carolina, they kind of take me in because they've kind of been in this situation, the same situation I'm in, so they really kind of helped me out about not just persuading me to go to South Carolina, but just about the overall athletes. So they really reached out to me, and that really helped me out a lot because I get to see it in their eyes. And if I were to go to South Carolina, kind of see the things that could happen. And also, they're just helping because they're just really nice girls.
Have some guidance from somebody that reaches back.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's a lot of pressure to be in Asia's position and be the #1 pick in the country.
Yeah, it has its times sometimes. I feel like I'm just about to break. But other times, majority of the times, it's not. It's actually pretty nice.
What was the most exciting thing that happened to you in basketball?
Ooh. Most excited. It has to be winning my state championship.
Yeah.
It has to be. Heathwood has given so much to me, and just to really give them a state championship is just the greatest thing and the greatest feeling to have is just to give back to them because they've just given so much to me, whether it's in the classroom, out of the classroom. They just helped me out a lot and really just kind of give it back to the school before I leave, and that was my main goal. And the fact that I made it happen was just amazing.
Incredible. Yeah. Was this the first championship they've won since
in history? Yeah.
In the history
Yeah.
of school?
Wow.
So it's like my mom said, we're going in the history books.
This is Women's History Month, and you are really making history at 17.
You think they're going to retire your jersey?
I don't know yet. They have a big banner of me in the gym, and it's kind of creepy. But
Kind of creepy. I bet it's fabulous.
Thank you. But yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best, Asia. We know that wonderful things are going to happen for you. Now, you were on our cover back in September. Yeah, that was like a whole year ago, right? This is before all this wonderful stuff really broke, but we saw it coming. We knew, and we think that this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Thank you so much.
So best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And let us know where you're going to go. Give us the scoop when you decide.
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure.
I got you.
All right, then stay with us. We'll be right back.
All in together now, we can make it better now. Come on.
Moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier. Search We Can to find out more.
Well, that completes our show today. We hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned something that both inspires and empowers you. Now remember,
You can get a subscription to Ammar Woman magazine online at ammarwoman.com.
Don't forget to like Ammar Woman magazine on Facebook.
And follow Ammar Woman Magazine on Twitter.
well, until the next time, peace